is 5 on 20 News, coming to you live from our studio in downtown Tucson. I'm Frank Powers.
And I'm Joel Foster. It's Friday.
Casual Friday.
Casual Friday. Get out of here.
That's right. And hat on.
Hat on.
Let's talk local headlines. So, an aquatic desert turtle native to southern Arizona was placed on the endangered species list. According to a U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service report, there are only 100 Sonoida mud turtles left. They cited climate change and loss of habitat for the animals dwindling. The agency said that the protecting of the turtles from the Endangered Species Act will bring increased attention and the resources needed by U.S. and Mexican conservation partners to improve and expand its habitat and populations. The turtle is a subspecies of the Sonoran mud turtle and found in northern Mexico and in, good luck with this word, Quinto Bajito Springs, that was pretty good, at Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument in southern Arizona. It's only U.S. habitat. The turtles live in a permanent aquatic habitat, which is a problem in an area where water is rapidly declining. A biologist for the Fish and Wildlife said that the turtles face a number of threats ranging from low water supply to climate change and master shredder. There is also the problem of polluted water being dumped in their habitat on the Mexican side, which the agency will change with the new designation. Another threat is the lack of genetic variation caused by the small population, as survival is less common. Responding to the report, Donald Trump said, "You've got these mud turtles coming across the border from Mexico. They're filthy, they're doing incest, and they're a danger." Says it's right to the Title II endangered. Danger. Is that what he said? Is that the long quote? He then went on to call the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles propaganda and complained that he didn't hear even one organ at the Organ Pipe National Monument, which he called a waste of money.
Well said. All right, 255 migrants have died trying to cross the U.S.-Mexican border in the first 8 months of this year, according to a study by the International Organization for Migration. This number increased from 240 from the same period last year, according to the study. These migrants have increased, the migrant deaths rather, have increased as the number of unauthorized border crossers decreased between 2008 and 2016 by 70% in the Southwest United States. During that same period, migrant deaths have increased by 20%. There's a relationship. This is primarily caused by increased security and surveillance at the border, including fencing that stretches across 700 miles of the border. And this was exactly the plan, as the Border Patrol intended to push migrants away from the easy-to-cross, hard-to-police areas into more isolated desert terrain. This was documented in an academic paper entitled "Why Border Enforcement Backfired" by Douglas Massey of Princeton. The paper mentions how in the 1990s, migrants could easily slip across the border to Texas by crossing a narrow canal or hopping a chain-link fence from Juarez into El Paso. Many of these unauthorized crossers made it to major cities like San Diego or El Paso after getting across the border in order to blend in with the general population. Things began to change under the Clinton administration when the Border Patrol's ranks increased and a strategy of prevention through deterrence began. The initiative was adopted in 1994 and closed down these popular routes to El Paso and San Diego. It was at about this time that Arizona became a popular spot for migrant crossings because it's more isolated areas. In the Tucson sector, migrant fatalities jumped from 11 in 1998 to a peak of 251 in 2010. The Trump administration says that if they can get the big, beautiful border wall built, then maybe they can get these numbers up past 300.
This is the border! All right, Arizona will lose $133 billion under the latest Republican attempt to replace the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare, according to a study by consulting firm Avril Health. Another report by the left-leaning Center for American Progress estimated that 511,000 Arizonans would lose their health insurance if the bill passes. Aviler's report says that the bill will have states expand Medicaid, such as Arizona, the hardest, I assume is the sentence. It hits them the hardest. Thank you, sir. The bill will replace the Medicaid expansion with a block grant program, which allocates an equal amount of funding to states, who are then expected to set up their own programs. The report says that the state will lose out on $11 billion in federal funding by 2026, with that number increasing sharply a decade later if Congress fails to renew the block grant funding. Senator Jeff Flake and Governor Doug Ducey support the bill, claiming that it will give more power to the states to make their own decisions about health care. Senator John McCain released a statement today saying that he cannot, in good conscience, support the bill. This makes it even more unlikely that the bill will pass. While Flake and Ducey support the bill, Arizona hospitals feel differently. The Arizona Hospital and Healthcare Association and the Health System Alliance of Arizona both released statements opposing the bill. The Hospital Association said that the bill erodes critical protections for patients and consumers, while the president of the association said that the funding cuts are too deep and would likely reduce coverage for many in the state. The American Medical Association and the AARP also expressed concerns with the bill. It doesn't help that the Congressional Budget Office said that it wouldn't have enough time to make an actual scoring for the bill by the September 30th date. Not that any of this matters, because this is all basically a pissing contest between Trump and Obama, who doesn't realize he's part of a pissing contest.
I'm gonna let him know one of these days.
Yeah.
So McCain again came down on it. All right, the Justice Department missed a deadline today to submit legal reasoning for why former Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio should be pardoned of criminal charges. U.S. District Judge Susan Bolton gave the government until Thursday, which was yesterday, to sufficiently address why Arpaio's criminal record should be expunged, but so far hasn't received the statement. The president pardoned Arpaio last month after the sheriff was convicted of criminal contempt of court. Arpaio had disobeyed a judge after being told to stop his immigration posse group, who were accused of racial profiling in Maricopa County. After the pardon, Arpaio's attorneys requested that Bolton throw out the case and her 14-page ruling that explained the reasons behind his misdemeanor conviction, which the Justice Department agreed with. According to law, the Justice Department will receive a failing grade for failing to turn in the legal statement, but will have a chance to make it up for half credit if they submit the report within a week's time. There's still a chance.
Yep. TikTok. The Arizona Underground Film Festival is wrapping up its wild week of films this weekend. It was awesome. This is the last chance to see some of the best in new independent cinema tonight and tomorrow night right here in Creative Tucson. So it's in the Creative Tucson Studios located at 1100, so 1100 South 6th Avenue. The festival screens movies from all over the world from filmmakers with a defiantly independent vision. For the full schedule of the films, visit www.azuff.com. So azuff.com.
Tonight.
Now, in national and international news.
I should say real quick, tonight is going to be a movie called Neighborhood Food Drive. It's supposed to be really funny. I'm going to stay and watch it tonight.
Okay, Neighborhood Food Drive, come on down.
Yep. All right. The advocacy group Public Citizen is suing the FDA for not responding to a petition to regulate an ingredient found in over-the-counter medicines for teething babies. In the complaint filed in D.C.'s district court, the group said that the FDA ignored a 2014 request to revise labeling requirements and limit the use of healthcare products containing benzocaine. Public Citizen claims that the ingredient is linked to, here we go, methemoglobinemia, maybe, a life-threatening blood disorder that impairs the body's ability to use oxygen. They claim that the FDA has known for years about the health risks associated with benzocaine and even issued safety warnings between 2003 and 2004 and again in 2014. Public Citizen is asking that the court force the FDA to act on its petition. Who would have thunk that something called benzocaine would be dangerous for children? Combines all the fun of Benzedrine and cocaine, all rolled into one wacky package.
Oh, man. I miss wacky packages. Those
I know,
are really
wacky
fun.
packages are great.
So 80% of the nominees for spots in the Trump administration have gone to men, according to a report by The Guardian. The analysis found that 408 political nominees that have been sent by the Senate, have been sent by the Senate by Trump for approval. 327 were men and 80 were women. 129 of these nominees have been confirmed. This gender imbalance differs from the administration of President Bush, Clinton, and Obama. During Bush's first team, men outnumbered women 3-1, while the Clinton and Obama administration had a 5-2 ratio favoring. Trump's transition team has in the past said that the president's nominees would be very broad and diverse, both with the cabinet and the administration. In defending their decisions, the Trump administration pointed out that they'd increased the number of left-handed nominees, along with those who pronounce Caribbean as Caribbean.
See? It's all about diversity, you know?
Yeah, I'll stay on me. I'll tell you what. So Joel's going to tell you how the Border Patrol arrested the parents in a second. Let's just have me do this
here we
dance
go.
and let's give it a Joel.
Hey, The Border Patrol arrested the parents of a child who was receiving an operation for a rare disease while they were in the hospital. Oscar and Irma Sanchez found out that their 2-month-old baby Isaac had pyloric stenosis, a condition that causes vomiting, dehydration, and weight loss in infants. To treat the issue, they had to bring Isaac to Rio Grande Valley Hospital in Texas, which had a pediatric surgery team capable of performing the necessary operation. But in order to get to the hospital, the couple would have to travel through a Border Patrol checkpoint. While they pondered what to do, a Border Patrol agent suddenly showed up in the hospital's waiting room, which Oscar thinks happened because a nurse turned him in. The agent said that he could arrange for his officers to escort the parents through the checkpoint, but said that when they arrived, they would be arrested. The agents then followed the ambulance on the night of May 24th as it raced toward the hospital. Once they arrived, agents stood beside the parents as they watched their child get an IV tube inserted into his stomach. Officers even followed Oscar to the bathroom and to the cafeteria and asked the mother to leave the door open when she breastfed Isaac. This contradicts a policy under the Obama administration which ruled that agents should avoid enforcement actions at hospitals, schools, churches, and public demonstrations unless there were special circumstances. Customs and Border Protection says that it's required to monitor subjects in custody, quote, at all times, and tried to do this, again, quote, in the least restrictive manner. The following morning, agents took Oscar and Irma separately to be fingerprinted and booked. They were then returned to the hospital to wait on the operation. Since Isaac is a U.S. citizen, his parents say that he is covered under Medicaid. The Border Patrol said that it made sure to leave one parent with the baby at all times. So nice of them. After the story was published by NPR, a Border Patrol chief released a statement saying, quote, "We're happy to have been able to help a human life," and said that, quote, "We have a job to do, but we do that job as humanely as possible." The chief says that he looks forward to when little Isaac can finally say, "Thank you."
I just don't have anything to say.
Yeah, I know.
I saw that. I'd heard about that.
Yeah,
That was tragic.
it's
I think
tough.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
So, Health and Human Service Secretary Tom Price has flown in a private jet at least 24 times on a government business while in office, according to a report by Politico. Price's jet-set lifestyle has so far cost taxpayers $300,000 since May, which was thousands more than commercial flights to the same destinations, according to the report. 5 Democrats signed a letter on Wednesday asking that the HHS Inspector General gather a full accounting of Price's travel. Charmaine Yost, an HHS spokeswoman, said that while the department always checks for multiple travel options, commercial flight is not always feasible. She said that the cost of Price's travel comes from the HHS budget and that Dr. Price is focused on hearing from Americans across the country. If you are one of these lucky Americans who get to meet Dr. Price, maybe you can ask why he can't take a regular flight like all of us poor schmucks. It's the peanut side. It's the peanut allergy.
Definitely. Yeah, that
Tragic
has to
peanut
be.
allergy.
All right, this was 5 on 20 News with Joel Foster
And I'm
and
Frank Powers. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube and our Facebook accounts for all the latest creative content. Feel free to bother us at info@creativetucson.org. So thanks for watching. Stay creative, Tucson. And up next, Joel, what are we doing?
yes, we're back with another installment of Last Week in Mediocrity because we didn't get to do it last week.
Not much has happened. It's all right.
Much has
You'll catch
happened.
them up on all the deets.
Exactly. So we're going back to a time when Trump and Democrats got along. Remember that from last week?
Wow.
Yeah. Remember?
That was a nice little, what was that? I thought it was a mirage.
Yeah, maybe that could have been
Nice little island in the sea of lunacy.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
So
great.
we're going to talk about that, talk about how the media reacted to it, and talk about how some of Trump's base is starting to turn on him a little bit. So it'll be interesting. So
All right,
stick around.
I'm going to read it like the prompter says now. So thanks for watching, and stay creative, Tucson. Up next, Joel Foster!